Hi guys, and welcome again to another webinar with our Victorian form analyst Trevor Lawson. Trev, today you're going to run us through Saturday's Group 1 Makybe Diva Stakes.
So looks a good race on paper. Didn't have much luck finding the winner last time. Hopefully we can do a bit better this time. So there we go.
No worries, mate. We've got the faith, and take it away.
That's right. Okay, so this Saturday it's race 7. You can see the field here. Pretty much the same horses that ran in the race 2 weeks ago. Excuse me. The rail's going to be true on Saturday. The tracks, I had a track report this afternoon. It's in excellent condition. There's no real bias in the track. There's a little bit of rain predicted Saturday morning. We'll just see if that comes. And they're predicting the wind from the north blowing around to the west, which normally hinders those horses up on the pace, and you tend to need cover on the circle. So at the moment, I've sort of just left it neutral. As we get closer to the meeting, we'll make some sort of final adjustments. So here's the field here. Humidor, who won the last start, coming through, comes down from Sydney. Grunt, Kementari, Kingswell Dream, Blackheart Bart and Happy Clapper all come through the Humidor race. Speed map, it's a little bit speculative. John Snow's comes out from New Zealand. It sort of races on the pace. The Taj Mahal, they rode back last start, but blinkers again this start. So I would assume it would be rolling forward. Grunton coming through can sit just off the pace. Blackheart Bart stored sort of out wide. He probably has to try and push forward. Kementari can sit midfield. The Japanese horse here, I don't know. I've just put it in midfield. Humidor will be sort of back on the fence where he was last start. Kingswell Dream will go back as well, I assume, seeing he's going to the Caulfield Cup. And I've mapped Happy Clapper back, but he could sort of go forward from the wide barrier depending on the conditions. So he could sort of go forward. That's how I've just left it at the moment. With the field, just through habit, I like to do it from the bottom up. But so the first horse we'll look at is Grunt. He's had 2 runs back. He had every possible at Caulfield over 1400. And then last start again, he had every possible. He does have his best rating, 2 ratings were, or his best rating was at Caulfield Flemington, this track, this distance, when he won the Guineas. So I don't know if he's going that well, but I was happy to sort of let him improve off the other day, which I thought he had every possible chance. And I'm happy to put him in sort of 1 length under that Guineas rating. So he sort of goes in at 62. Kementari was pretty good last start. He was sort of 3 wide with cover, sort of midfield. He had to sort of come very wide on the corner. He was a fair way off them and hit the line very good. Rating sort of just under his best. I thought he didn't have much luck, and with a bit more luck, he sort of could have possibly won by sort of half a length. So I rated him slightly up on that run last week. Kingswell Dream just seems to be ticking over, waiting for the cup. He's had 2 runs over 14. He's drawn 14 of 16, 11 of 11, and this time here he's got 10 of 12. So I just assume he's going to go back again and run home. So I've let him return the same figure as what he did last start. He should sort of have the same sort of run. The Taj Mahal, basically on the leaders track at Moonee Valley, first up they decided to go right back to sort of second last. He ran on pretty well in the straight. He's second up here, blinkers go on. It's a Group 1. He sort of did 61 first up. He did 61.5 in the Australian Cup when he was gassed in front. He did 66 when he won the Zipping Classic, and he did 63 when he won the old McKinnon Stakes on at Flemington. Well, I think now it's the last day. It's a 2,000 metre race. I thought he could improve off that rating and do what he did sort of second up this time last year. So I put him in at 63. Harlem was pretty plain the other day. He settled midfield in the run and basically didn't make any ground at all. He got beat 5.6 lengths. This time last year he improved second up, but it was at 2,000 metres off a fast pace. And then he improved third up, winning the Australian Cup this time in again off a fast pace. At his best, he's sort of he has done 67 and 66.5. I don't think he can do anywhere near that now. He wasn't a horse that I sort of second up at 1,600. I just didn't want to be on him. I was happy to put him in at what the market rated him last start, which was 59.5. Thought he could win that. Honolulu is a Western Australian horse. I don't really, I have to sort of get some ratings for somewhere else, which I've really only got sort of ratings here where he's like a 59.5 horse or something. He's been running around in Group 3s. He did win a Group 1 this time last year over 1,800. That Blackheart Bart was favourite, but Blackheart Bart got beat 5.3 lengths. Didn't have much luck. I think Tom Melbourne didn't have much luck either. I haven't had a rating, so I didn't think he'd had much hope. Coming through, he's a pretty good horse coming through. He did win the Carbine Stakes here Derby Day 2 years ago over this distance. He's done 63s this time last year. First up in the autumn, he did 63, peaked at 66.5 in behind Winks. Did 64.5 at Doomben, and first up did 64.5 in a pretty good race, beating Tom Melbourne, Dixie Blooms, who go all right, beats them, and Egg Tart. He maps all right. I was happy to leave him in at 64.5. John Snow looks to be the pace in the race. This time last year, he ran sixth first up, rating 63.5. He was 66-1, so he wasn't fancy that day. The market thought he'd return 61. Then second up, he sort of failed, but he didn't have a lot of luck. And then he won third up. I've got a rough rating for him at Hastings when he returned of 60.5. I've put him in at 1 length under what he did first up last time in. Seeing he's second up. Most of his wins are at 2,000 metre plus, but he will race on the pace. So I was happy to put him in at 62. Cosm Basil, I haven't priced, so he's a Japanese horse. You can see when he first started out, he raced over 1,800 and 2,000. He resumed over 2,400, then he went to 22, 24, then 3, 24, then 32. So he looks a 1.5 to 2 mile horse. Excuse me, he's first up. Hasn't raced for 139 days. Generally, all I do with these horses, I just put him into the market. At the moment, he's $41 everywhere, so I've just left him out to start with, and then as we get closer, I'll just put him in roughly what the market is. Humidor got up on his last start with a pretty sort of lucky run through. There was good speed in the race, and they broke up a bit, and he was able to sort of get where he was sort of fall back the fence and get through and win. He's a good horse, but he tends to run well second up or third up. I thought this prep he would go well third up, but he only does one or the other. So since Weir's had him, he ran ordinary this time last year, first and second up, then jumped out of the ground third up, and then this time in the autumn he ran fair first up, jumped out of the ground second up, and then went backwards third up, and then improved fourth up. He wasn't really fancied by the market last start. He got a run. Arguably he's the best horse. I've got him doing his best figure at like 74, which is way above what he did here when he ran second to Winks in the Cox Plate last year. I assumed they're going to the Cox Plate again. Because he was big odds, I was just happy to leave him in at the 65, and he does map to sort of settle back here on the inside, which is the same spot as last time. So he does need the field to sort of go hard and break up for him to get runs through. I was happy to leave him at 65. Blackheart Bart has had 3 runs back. First 2 runs were pretty ordinary. The other day he settled midfield and he fought on pretty well in that race, getting beat 1 length. He's run well a couple of years ago in this race. Last year he ran 3rd in this race, rating the same figure. So I've just sort of left him at the same figure. He's drawn out. As I get closer, I'll sort of decide whether that's going to be a negative, how much of a negative that's going to be if the wind has got up. But to start with, I'm happy to leave him in at sort of 63.5. And then we get to Happy Clapper, who has some big figures of 68.5, 69, 67, 69, 69.5, 69, 68.5. I thought he'd do 66 last week, 2 weeks ago. The market put him in at 65. He did 61.5, but he was a funny run. He sort of went back and he wasn't going anywhere. And then I've sort of written my comments here. He took all day to get going. And then the last bit, he was actually pretty good. He ran the 20th best less 200, but to Humidor, he was, he basically only lost 1 length, just under 1 length to Humidor the last 200. And he lost sort of 2 and a bit lengths to it the last 600.
Trev, he's always around the mark. He never gets beaten by much, does he? Happy
no, he's just been good. He's on a source. He's won $6.3 million, and he wins races every prep. He's got a terrific record at this track, this distance. He has raced here a couple of times, but over 2,000 metres, just thinking that a lot of Sydney horses just struggle to get around Caulfield. They sort of come out of the 1,400 metre there, they go up over the hill and it's a bit of a turn, and some of the Sydney horses get on their wrong leg. Excuse me. So I was happy to forgive him for the other day. And initially, I've just sort of put him in at what the market did rate him last start, which is 65. He is drawn wide. I'll wait and listen to see if there's any change of tactics, whether they're going to roll forward or anything, or just see the wind. But at the moment, I've sort of just put him in at that, which he can do easily off his Sydney figures, but we'll see what he can do down here. That gives me a market of pretty much Kementari favourite at about 4-1, and then Humidor and Happy Clapper $6.75. So rounded, that's about $6.50. Coming through is about $7.50. Black Art Bart's sort of $11, $12. Taj Mahal's about $14, and Grunt and Grunt and John Snow are about $25, and then I'll put a market price in for Tossum, Basil, and for Ponamu and Harlem was happy to leave out. If we go to the market, you can see that Kementari's about $3.84. Kingswood Dream's slightly longer. Humidor's same sort of price. Happy Clapper would be a slide over. Coming through would be a slide over. Taj Mahal looks huge odds. Uni about $51 there. Does seem big odds. And Grunt's sort of $15. So if I sort of put it, so on my market at the moment, it's not a race I really want to get involved in because there's no sort of horses up on the pace that I really want to be on. Most of the horses are sort of either drawn wide and or are going to get back. And a couple of them sort of, you're not sure whether they're going anywhere, you know, or going to return to sort of what their best is. But that's the market at the moment. May slightly change with if the conditions change. So there we go.
All right, Trev, thanks again for another great in-depth preview. Mate, good luck to you on the weekend.
Thank you, Daniel. Yes, well, hopefully there's some other winners in the other races, and hopefully we get amongst it.
Absolutely. Trevor Lawson's our analyst for Trev's Bets and also Melbourne Ratings, guys. If you're interested, get in touch, 1300 500 057, or email us at team@championbets. Trev, thanks again.
Great. Thanks, Daniel. Thank you.